Gardening is a little bit like magic, don't you think? One minute you plant something, you forget about it, and all of a sudden it appears like magic. Ta-da! Do you remember back in, I don't know, was it October when I planted these narcissus? I planted these, I planted some over there, some on the berm, and I kind of forgot about them. And now they've opened up in all their glory. So this week, I thought I'd do a little bit of a roundup of all the things we've been doing in the garden over the last few weeks of the build. Just thought it might be nice to show you what we've been doing, because even though it's been raining, that hasn't stopped us either. But even though it's raining, I'm going to get on with planting a few little bits and pieces. Well, these lettuces in front of me are coming to the end of their life, and that's why I'm going to plant another batch. So 15 starts for €1, and I'll get them in just in this bed that's planted behind. I got a nice mixture. But I have to use the advantage of the wetness. Get these in. The ground is nice and wet. It's going to keep on raining. Means I don't have to water anything in. So when I lived in the UK and Ireland, I never ate salad in the cold months. But for some reason, here it feels normal. And that's the whole lot planted. So €1, cheaper than a bag of seeds. And usually what I find is I plant seeds, and of course I'm not going to use the whole packet. So it's just going to languish about in the bottom of a box of seeds in that sort of section where you go, oh, I must plant those sometime, and you never get round to them. And then you discover a packet and realise that it's 15 years out of date.
Now that the evenings have a bit more light, I can get over and do an hour after I've done my office work. I've got to get this done this week, so I've got to go for another 2 weeks of travelling, and if I leave it until I come back, it's going to be rather overgrown. Getting dark and I can hardly see what I'm doing, so it's time to go home and make some dinner for Meraid, and I might come back tomorrow and do a bit more. if it's not raining. Well, it's getting towards the end of February now, so it's time to plant some Groudabiko or chickpeas. I've got a prepared bed that we weeded out and manured last week, so I'm going to plant these into this bed, kind of like this area for tomatoes and chilies and aubergines, but they're a bit in front and they don't grow particularly high, so other things should be able to grow nicely behind them. Just going to poke them into the ground. We've got some rain coming, so we don't need to water them. Definitely time to plant potatoes. We've got a prepared bed here with some straw to mulch it all with, so this is where they're going in. These nicely chitted potatoes are going to go straight in here. Well, I didn't film any of the making of some more beds. Basically moving the compost pile to create space for more growing beds. It's getting that time of year where we need to start planting things, and we always want a bit more space.
And a wee bit of broccoli. Where'd the broccoli go? Over here. That's just nice. Oh, looks good with a bit of extra wood or bark on it as well. Right, come on, do you know what we're going to do now? Well, we're going to go and check the asparagus. Well, there might be enough just to try. You know, we're definitely known for our patience, but when it comes to asparagi, we have none. We're supposed to wait another year. But who's checking up? Here, there's a nice batch of them. Well, I was sort of thinking that if we could find 7 or 8, that we could have snuck a little meal, but really there's not enough small ones. So I think that's nature's way of telling us we need to wait.
Oops.
Well, this hose has been draining under the veranda all weekend, as you can see here, and it's almost empty. Over here behind me, this is full. So I'm going to get a little bit of extra pipe and use another siphon to take it from this one down into the other hole. So there was some pipe I eventually found up here in the loft. Scissors aren't ideal. So here goes. It's got this sort of end on it. I'm going to leave that on and see how that goes first. Well, that's almost full. See? That's it full. Right. Now for the moment of truth. So you see how it's working. It's always something to do. What are we going to do with this wall? This wall surrounds the courtyard on 3 sides. And I agree, it's not the prettiest of things. However, it does serve a purpose. It keeps the area enclosed and, you know, somewhere for the gates to be attached to. We don't like it. We never liked it. And in, what has it been? 3 years since we first looked at this property. We don't know what to do with it. And you remember when we were on the veranda last week and we looked out, I didn't try and hide it because it's there, it's a reality. So, our idea initially was that we would wait until the house was built and then decide what we're going to do with it. And the reason for that is, number one, because this whole area, which seemed like a really lovely place at the start when we first came, and I'll not deny it, I had cardboard and wood chip in here for weeks trying to make this look better. And then I thought, what is the point? This is going to be a building site in 6 months. Well, as we all know, it took a lot longer than that. But I am so glad we didn't do anything to it, because can you imagine how mature things would be at this stage, and now and then we would have to face this. This wall also goes into the vegetable garden, which is just here. So on that side, we haven't done anything either. And again, it's for the same reason, because we haven't really decided if this wall is going to be coming down, if we're going to face it in schist, or if we're just going to render it. We also have another wall here, which is the inside wall of the barn, with a similar aesthetic. However, almost 2 years ago now, we planted this passion fruit as a fix to kind of cover the wall and hide it with something useful. And this passion fruit provided us with about 12 kilos of passion fruit last year. So that was a really instant fix. So to answer the question, the question has two answers. Number one, we're not doing anything to it right away. We are going to wait, but we do have big plans. A neighbour has a grapefruit tree growing in a similar kind of courtyard, because the grapefruit trees are a little bit more tender. Grapefruit brings back tremendous memories for me. Mid-70s. Every Sunday morning, my mum would cut a grapefruit in half, sprinkle it with sugar, and put a glacé cherry on the top. And I thought it was so sophisticated. And possibly a couple of avocados, because they also need a little bit more protection. But where the ins and outs of it, or the seating areas, haven't really come up with a plan for that yet. We expect to be sitting on the veranda a lot with an outside table, but there may be times we want to sit outside as well, you know, just down here, maybe paths, who knows. Lots and lots of ideas, but to be honest, I don't want to put too much energy into thinking about that until the time is closer, and like I say, until we really feel how we're using this place. Because if you remember, we're also moving the steps that were over there to there. Yeah, so we're not sure, will we take some of this wall down? Will we leave it as it is? And like I said earlier, cover it in schist or render of some type. I don't know. Thank you so much for your interest and asking about these things. You're absolutely right. It is not pretty. This is the donut peach that Dan planted just over a year ago, 14 months ago, from a stick. And look at it, blossom. And you can probably tell he's very fond of favours, or as we call them in Ireland and the UK, broad beans. I'm a bit high maintenance when it comes to broad beans. I either like them very young, or when they're mature, I have to double shell them. So if you remember back in last spring, when we had the huge amount of rain, Dan dug a trench and a swale and berm over here. And what I did was I threw all vegetation and all seed heads and just to allow plants to grow and help support the berm and keep it in place. Under the daffodils, I've managed to get some coriander, totally unexpected. Most of the coriander heads or seed heads that I saved, and then there was just like the scrappy bits, so I threw them over here as well. And what do you see what happened? They've all grown. Coriander everywhere. Yeah, the garden's doing really, really well at the moment. We've got plenty of food. We've got broccoli, lettuce, kales and cabbages. Well, it's been a few days since Dan and I looked at the asparagus. And you know what? He's not here today. So I've made a fish pie for tonight's dinner. And I think it would be nice with a bit of asparagus. Lovely. I think I'll pick about 3. There we go. Oh, that would be nice. Three asparaguses for me. See you back at the dinner table for 1. Proud moment. Well, that's it from me for this week. But we'll see you next time. Bye. Our first Portuguese grown asparagus. Cheers, Dan. See you soon.